friends, Mr. Bell and Mr. McDonald here just to give you a little bit of information about your new topic. We have looked a little bit of it already, but we are going to be studying Revolution, which is all about the Industrial Revolution and also the Victorian era. Queen Victoria being one of the longest reigning monarchs before our current Queen Elizabeth passed that in 2015. Throughout this topic, we are going to be focusing on looking at some of the chronological events, that's in time order events of the Victorian era, and comparing it to some other topics that we've studied earlier this year, because we've looked at other pieces of history and how that fits in with the Victorian era. And we will also kind of be focusing on kind of William Morris as a person of interest in the Victorian era.
Hi Griffins, following on from what Mr. Bell has said, looking at William Morris, we will be spending a couple of weeks doing artwork based on his style. So whilst you're at home, why don't you look at all the different patterns that he made, because he focused on kind of wallpaper prints, and see if you can research him and how he got into art and who his influence was as an artist.
See you later.
Hi Year 6 families, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about English during Spring 2. So as you know, we're on the final stretch up till SATs. We have this 6 weeks up till half term, and then we've got another 2 weeks in summer 1 before we have SATs, because SATs week will be week beginning the 9th of May. So definitely for reading and for grammar, we're going to be having a big push on kind of revising those skills to make sure that we're ready to go. Definitely with reading, something that we will be practicing will be 3-mark questions. So if you talk to your children about this, they should hopefully know that the structure of their answer should be point, evidence, explain, but we really want to make sure that they are accessing those questions, because they are very easy to get the marks, and I think some children see the big box and think that they're going to skip that. So if you could do some practice with that at home, you can pull up 3-mark questions on the internet, that would be brilliant to help your children. As well as that, we are going to obviously be continuing with our writing. We are doing an instructional piece, so we're going to be creating our own immortality potion, which will be really exciting. And we are going to be including the following things in our piece of writing to just make sure that our writing is to that next level. So we're going to be using the subjunctive form. Now, the subjunctive form talks about hypothetical situations, so things that should or could happen. So we'll be using things like if I were you, just to make sure that we're extending those instructions from the basic ones that they would do in year 3. As well as that, we will be trying to include some modal verbs. So that will be indicating the possibility or certainty that something would happen. So these words like should, could, might, will, so you could add in this. You should stir it carefully, just so that it is very clear that we are up-levelling our work to the next level, as I've said before. As well as that, we will be moving on to Macbeth later in the half term, which is really exciting. We're going to be creating our own soliloquies. So maybe as a challenge for you at home with your children, you could get your children to look at what a soliloquy is and see if they can have a think about that before they come to their lessons. Obviously, if you have any questions about SATs or about English on the build-up to the next half term, do get in touch with one of the teachers on Seesaw, and we'd be more than happy to help. Thank you.
In Spring 2 in maths, it's quite a fun half term because we've got lots of little areas of maths to cover throughout the time in preparation for obviously just after the end of half term doing our SATs. So we've got algebra, which the children really panic about because they think, oh, it's a really hard concept, it's something that's high school based, but really it's something that they've been doing all the way along their journey from reception, just not knowing that they've done it. So we've started across this week. They've really enjoyed it, and I hope for them to continue. So each week there'll be a Friday lesson for them to prepare on Seesaw, ready for the Friday lesson. So continue to do that. That'd be really good. After algebra, we'll be moving into doing lots of shape work, which is really fun in year 6, where we'll be enlarging shapes, translating shapes, reflecting, so lots of nice maths. And then just before we break up, we'll be moving into statistics. Again, a nice area of maths, so we'll be interpreting pie charts, creating pie charts, line graphs, and just doing some really thought-provoking 2-mark question maths that they'll hopefully really enjoy. If they can continue to practice some of the elements that we've done previously, practicing what what a fraction is and what it is as a percentage, what it is as a decimal. That'll really help them. And just revise some of the areas that we've covered already, which I'll remind them to do each week in class.